Who's really to blame for the government shutdown dragging on for weeks? The answer might surprise you. Across the country, federal employees are waiting for paychecks that aren't coming, travelers face delayed flights, and everyday Americans are feeling the pinch. What started as a political standoff over funding has quickly become a nationwide headache, affecting millions. From lines at airports to growing queues at food banks, the shutdown isn't just a headline, it's hitting real people hard. And as the third week rolls on, frustration is building, and the stakes are getting higher than ever. But this isn't just about inconvenience. There's a battle playing out in Washington, and Americans are watching closely, trying to figure out who's really responsible and who's just passing the buck. A new AP-NORC poll reveals just how sharply Americans are pointing fingers. Roughly 6 in 10 say President Trump and Republicans in Congress hold a great deal or quite a bit of responsibility for the shutdown, while 54% assign similar blame to Democrats. In fact, at least 3/4 of Americans think each major player deserves at least some responsibility, showing that no one is escaping scrutiny. Interestingly, those frustrations seem slightly heavier on the party in power. About half of Americans place the most responsibility squarely on Trump, matching the share who fault Republican lawmakers and surpassing the 40% who blame Democrats. Even Republican voters, like Sophia Cole from St. Louis, admit the president has a unique duty to broker a deal, despite supporting his policies. Clearly, the public sees this shutdown not as a minor political hiccup, but as a problem with real consequences, and everyone in Washington is under the microscope. The effects of the shutdown are starting to hit Americans hard. Flights are delayed, federal workers are either furloughed or working without pay, and many are missing their paychecks. The AP-NORC poll shows that 54% of U.S. adults see the shutdown as a major issue, with Democrats most concerned at 69%, independents at 59%, and even 37% of Republicans feeling the pinch. Federal employees, in particular, are caught in the middle. While some, like 2 million service members, are still being paid, others face potential layoffs, a threat temporarily blocked by a federal judge in California who ruled the firing seemed politically motivated. Meanwhile, ordinary Americans like Angie Santiago, a 60-year-old Democrat on disability from Miami, are already struggling. She fears the shutdown will deepen economic hardship across the country, noting the growing reliance on food banks. The shutdown isn't just a political standoff. It's creating tangible stress and financial uncertainty for millions of Americans. At the center of the shutdown is a heated battle over federal tax credits for people who buy health insurance through the Affordable Care Act marketplace. Democrats are pushing to extend these credits, arguing that without them, insurance costs will skyrocket for millions of Americans. Republicans, however, have made it clear they won't negotiate until the government reopens, creating a stalemate. The AP-NORC poll shows roughly 4 in 10 adults support extending the credits, about 1 in 10 oppose them outright, and a significant 42% have no opinion, showing that many Americans aren't fully following the dispute driving the shutdown. Some individuals, like Jason Beck, a self-employed insurance agent in Utah, use the marketplace themselves and support keeping the credits in place. Yet even those in favor of the subsidies often place equal blame on both parties and the president for the deadlock. This stalemate isn't just political. It could directly affect healthcare costs, coverage, and financial stability for millions of Americans, highlighting just how high the stakes are in this showdown. As the shutdown drags on, Americans are growing increasingly frustrated, and opinions on who is responsible are sharply divided. Roughly 6 in 10 blame President Trump and Republicans in Congress for the impasse, while 54% assign significant responsibility to Democrats. At least 3/4 of the public think each side deserves a moderate share of the blame, showing that no one is escaping scrutiny. For some, like Sophia Cole, a Republican from St. Louis, the frustration is personal. Even as a Trump supporter, she believes both the president and Congress should find a compromise. Democrats and independents are particularly likely to see the shutdown as a major problem, with 69% of Democrats and 59% of independents expressing serious concern. Republicans are less concerned, but even among them, over a third recognize the shutdown as an issue. The standoff has become a high-stakes messaging battle, with each party betting that the public will blame the other. But so far, it seems Americans are holding everyone accountable, highlighting the political tension and uncertainty that comes with a shutdown of this magnitude. The shutdown isn't just political, it's personal. Across the country, its effects are being felt in real time. Flights are delayed, national parks remain closed, and hundreds of thousands of federal employees are either furloughed or working without pay. Many are missing paychecks, forcing families to make difficult choices about bills, groceries, and health care. People like Angie Santiago, a 60-year-old Democrat from Miami, are already seeing the strain. Living on disability while her husband works, she worries that the shutdown will worsen economic hardship nationwide. "If people like me are struggling, I can't imagine what federal workers are going through," she said. Lines at food banks, she warns, are likely to grow as the shutdown continues. Even travelers and small business owners are facing disruptions. Airports are crowded, services are delayed, and uncertainty is creating stress for millions who rely on timely government operations. For many Americans, the shutdown is no longer just a political headline. It's a daily challenge affecting paychecks, access to services, and overall stability. At the heart of the shutdown is a bitter stalemate over federal tax credits for people who buy health insurance through the Affordable Care Act marketplace. Democrats are pushing to extend these subsidies, arguing that keeping them in place is crucial to preventing skyrocketing healthcare costs. Republicans, on the other hand, insist that negotiations will only happen once the government reopens. Public opinion on the issue is divided but revealing. Roughly 4 in 10 Americans support extending the subsidies, about 1 in 10 oppose it outright, and a significant 42% remain undecided, showing that many are not closely following the dispute driving the shutdown. Individuals like Jason Beck, a self-employed insurance agent in Utah, are personally invested. Using the ACA marketplace himself, Beck supports the subsidies and acknowledges their importance. But even with his stance, he sees the blame as widespread. Trump's blaming the Democrats, and the Democrats are blaming the Republicans. We're stuck because there's no middle ground anymore. This division highlights a key challenge. While healthcare is a hot-button issue that could sway public opinion, the political gridlock makes resolution appear distant. Americans feel the tension between the need for affordable health care and the deadlock in Washington, leaving millions caught in the middle. The government shutdown isn't just a financial headache, it's also a test of public trust in political leaders. So far, neither party has seen a meaningful boost in favorability. About 3 in 10 Americans have a somewhat or very favorable view of the Democratic Party, while 4 in 10 feel the same about Republicans, showing little change from recent polls. Confidence in Congress is even lower. Only around 4% of Americans say they have a great deal of confidence in how Congress is being run. About 43% express only some confidence, while roughly half report hardly any confidence at all. Yet, the healthcare debate might be an exception that could shift opinions down the line. The poll shows 38% of Americans trust Democrats more to handle health care, compared with just 25% who trust Republicans. About 10% trust both parties equally, and 25% trust neither. Independent voters like Rob Redding see the Democrats' stance on ACA subsidies as courageous. Redding, who supports extending the subsidies, says, "Democrats holding the line on the ACA subsidies is probably one of the most valiant and gutsy things I've ever seen them do. And I think that it's the right call." The standoff over the shutdown in healthcare isn't just about politics. It's a reminder of how much Americans rely on policy decisions for their everyday lives, and how those decisions shape trust, loyalty, and the future of elections.